Are you considering drip irrigation for your raised beds, but want to avoid some of the most common mistakes that can be detrimental to your raised bed garden? Today, I'm going to cover the top 5 mistakes and how to avoid them. The first big mistake I see people making in their raised bed gardens is using drip tape. Now, drip tape is great and it's effective, but it's overkill for your average residential raised bed garden. Drip tape was originally created to handle the long rows you see in commercial agriculture. What you should do instead is use 1/4 inch drip line. Its lower profile means more space for plants in your bed and is significantly more durable. To give you an idea, the thickest drip tape we have is 15 mil. That's 15 thousandths of an inch thick, where the drip line is double that, coming in at 30 mil. And that increased thickness comes with increased durability, which means fewer repairs, less maintenance, and more time to enjoy your garden. And that's why we include drip line in all of our raised bed drip irrigation kits. 1/4 inch drip line is durable enough that I've seen it outlast a wooden raised bed. The bed decomposed before anything went wrong with the drip line. How long do you plan to have your raised bed gardens for? You're probably hoping to have it for a very long time to come in the future. Sure, 15 mil drip tape can last 5 to 10 years with pretty frequent maintenance, but why not get double or triple of that with the 1/4 inch drip line? One overlooked benefit to drip line that no drip tape type can handle is in its flexibility. Drip tape has to be in rigid, straight lines. With 1/4 inch drip line, it's flexible enough that you can snake it or S-shaped through a bed to get out of the way plants or to bring emitters closer together for more water-thirsty plants. You can even make rings for trees, shrubs, or any plant in a round container. So, what's the solution? Use 1/4 inch drip line. Mistake number 2, putting a hose bib at each one of your raised beds. Plumbing in a hose bib at each bed is often unnecessary, expensive, and potentially problematic. The reason why it could be a problem is the pressure regulator. Pressure regulators have a minimum flow rate before they begin working properly. Usually, this is around 30 gallons per hour. And a single garden bed, especially your average sized 8x3 or 8x4, is very unlikely to have a flow rate of 30 gallons per hour, which means the pressure regulator won't be working at all, which could lead your drip components to be exposed to high pressure. And we see people with a pressure regulator on each garden bed. They've bought multiple pressure regulators that they didn't need to buy, and they might not even be getting any benefit out of them. When you're using drip irrigation, I really can't imagine a situation in which you need a hose bib at each one of your beds. Think of all the extra work, time, and money that goes into putting them in there. The solution, if you want on-off functionality at each one of your beds, I understand, and a hose bib is one way to do that. But there's a better way, and that actually leads us into our next mistake. Number 3, not using a coupling valve on your beds. Like a hose bib, a coupling valve gives you complete on-off, but it costs significantly less and takes a fraction amount of time to install one. If you harvest one of your bed before the others, you can simply turn that bed off with your coupling valve. When you're ready to turn that bed back on, turn your coupling valve back on. And this way, you can control each one of your beds. Now, if you want even more control, you can actually control each one of your drip line runs individually with a 1/4 inch coupling valve. And this thing costs cents and allows you to turn off individual runs. So if one of your rows gets harvested before your others, you can actually turn off that row. And this gives drip irrigation its maximum efficiency. And these valves cost a fraction of what a hose bib costs and significantly less time to install them. Mistake number 4, not using clamps or stakes. Even though drip irrigation runs at low pressure, everything moves and vibrates a little bit when your lines pressurize. Over time, this can displace your drip lines and get them out from where they need to be. Clamps will secure your main line to your raised bed so that any of the activity in the garden, whether it's pets or kids, doesn't knock things out of your raised beds. It can be easy to think, oh, I'll just take a pass on those to save a little bit of money. But really, they're very affordable, low cost, and the benefit they offer is worth much more than what they cost. And stakes hold your drip line perfectly in place. If you take a pass on the stakes, you might lose out on one of the main benefits of drip irrigation, and that's precision irrigation. Number 5, using bubblers and sprayers in your raised beds. In most cases, bubblers and sprayers are going to put out way more water than what vegetables or even flowers need in a raised bed. They also wet the entire surface of the bed, which can look appealing, but isn't really efficient. Drip line and drippers are precise, and they deliver water right where it's needed the most, and that's to the roots of your plants. You should, when done right, only see a small wet spot on the surface of the soil. All the action actually happens beneath the surface where the roots of the plants are at. Bubblers and sprayers can look really productive with all that water they're putting out, but it's kind of like the employee who's cleaning the same spot of the counter over and over and over for hours. These bubblers and sprayers are putting water on the surface, but the real action happens beneath the surface. And I've got a bonus tip for you, and that's manually operating your system. Sure, at first it's probably a good idea to manually operate it while you get used to how your drip irrigation system works, but eventually it's well worth automating it. Hose-in timers are inexpensive these days, and when you use a timer to control your system, you'll never forget a watering cycle, and you'll never forget to turn the water off and accidentally overwater your plants. And to me, the biggest benefit to a timer is the timer can do one thing I can't, and that's wake up at 4 a.m. to turn the water on. That means your timer can water at the best time for irrigation, and that's early in the morning. Watering early in the morning is best. If you water late at night, which is something you can do if there's no way for you to water in the morning, watering late at night increases the risk of fungus. That water is going to last all night, and that is the prime breeding time for funguses and other diseases. If you wait till later in the day, well, the heat of the day and the sun is going to evaporate some of that water. That evaporation can rob moisture from your plants, even with perfect watering. That's why daytime hand watering fails. Set up a timer with your drip irrigation system and set it to water before sunrise. And your plants can drink up before the sun hits. No alarm needed. It all can seem a little daunting to start a project like this. Check out our video guide here to learn how to install drip irrigation in your raised beds the right way, step by step from start to finish.